What's up, Shane? How you doing today,
What's
brother?
up, Brian? How are you doing?
I'm still alive.
And that's the extent of it. Yeah. Brian and I have this thing, like when one of us does not want to talk about how well it's going for us at the moment, we'll be like, "Hey man, how you doing?" And the other one will be like, "How you doing?" So it's like get it off of us quickly and back on you.
Right.
And then of course most time I'm like, "Oh yeah, well and then I'm like, "Oh, you got me again. You
Got
didn't tell
you
me how
again."
you were doing." The question is how are you guys doing out there after a week of no Popcast and just being out there in the wild, crazy world that we all live in, huh?
It's an insane world, man. It's an insane world. Real quick, Graph Webb, he sent us a super chat pre-show. He said, FFS, hashtag cancel Disney Plus. Get it.
For fuck's sake. That's what that means.
I know, I was trying not to curse.
Oh, wait, you know what these
in
things
the
mean.
first 10 minutes of the show.
Well, sorry. Bleep, 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 bleep.
For
Okay.
bleep's sake. Also, Kenneth the Rogue for 9 months says, another milestone. Thank you, Ken. You are the man. And
Thank you, brother.
the Dork Knight. Danny himself says, hey guys, the episode took a real nosedive. Man, I can't speak today. After Carrie-Anne Moss died, I really did enjoy her one scene in it, though.
Something tells me she'll be back.
Yeah, more than likely. Listen, what are we talking about today? We're talking about Star Wars.
What are we talking about today?
We're talking about Star Wars Acolyte. Shane forced me to watch it as revenge for making him watch Star Trek Discovery, I guess.
Oh, no. There's no equal to that. 10 hours, bro, is what you got out of me. You owe me at least
no,
more.
Because I also watched Flowers of the Killer Moon, or whatever the F that was called. What was it called? Flowers of the Hidden Moon? Or
Flower Moon.
Flower Moon? Whatever.
You made me watch all the Fast X movies.
Made you? Dude, come on. It's art.
I didn't want to.
It's art.
Not the last two, I didn't want to.
So yeah, we are talking about The Acolyte, and we're talking about the politics around The Acolyte. Apparently it's the gayest show on, it's gayest Star Wars show ever, according to the creator. And
weird.
And it was designed to make white men cry. Interesting. I don't know why anyone would say, like, why would you say that?
It wasn't actually. So that's been debugged. So that quote was not talking about Star Wars, but we'll get into it.
Yeah. Cuomo got his rear end kicked up and down, but it's a good thing. Not that he got his butt kicked in this debate, but it's good that I actually have more respect for Cuomo, even though he got totally handed.
A little bit. Yeah.
He got totally handled.
Minute.
We're talking about the Fauci Garland stuff, a little bit of Trump news, lawfare, and Elon Musk. So, a lot of the times we talk about pop culture and politics and current events. Today might be a little heavy on the politics side. And we realize that that's not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. For a long time...
No, we're supposed to freaking trick them into that. What are you doing? We're supposed to trick them into... You come for the Acolyte, you stay for the fireworks.
Listen, for the longest time, we weren't very much like that either, okay? But there's too much going on not to talk about it. We're talking about current events, and this is current events. So, listen, we're going to talk about entertainment. We're going to talk about Star Wars. There was a Daniel RPK report about...
Why are you even giving that guy...
Why
are you even saying that guy's name?
Because I cannot help myself but to warn people that he is a shyster. He is a shyster and a grifter, and never to believe a word he says, because he said Blade Runner 2099 is going to be all-female cast. Sure, buddy. So, we got a lot to talk about today.
Probably. I mean, he might be right on that one.
I mean, he might be right.
He might be right.
You know, it's funny.
But there's a 50-50 on that one.
Yeah. Given the current state of Hollywood, like, I'd be like, yeah, all right, it makes sense. But then you see a source is Daniel RBK. You're like, no, I don't believe it. I don't know why.
Now it's the opposite. It's going to be an all-male cast. It's going to be really cool.
So all-male cast. They're all wearing American flag shirts, and they have a bald eagle sidekicks.
Right.
All right, guys. Listen, it's going to be a good day. It's been lately a lot of things have been real stupid. So the salt's going to flow a little bit today, and we're going to be a little opinionated, and I hope that that's okay with all. with all of you.
And if it's not, I'm sorry, but we're going to do it anyways.
Not sorry, but we're still doing it.
Look at Brian trying to like give the soft place to land. Listen, here's the thing. We're not into politics, but we're going to talk some politics. And mostly we care about freedom. And if you live in America, hopefully you care about freedom too. So.
I'd rather be a warrior and a gardener in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Okay. Dude, can you imagine being a gardener in a war? Like how like like a hoe in your hand? It's blowing up all around you. It's like, how did I sign up for this?
What the?
Can't we farm away from the war?
Oh, okay, man. Let's jump into it, bro. So talking about Star Wars Acolyte, I'm gonna pull up Disney Plus here. And I'm you know what, dude? I wouldn't have Disney Plus if it wasn't only $2 extra. Like,
yeah. Well,
the second they raise the price, I'm like, I'm out.
I got a huge problem with Disney. I got a huge problem with them and HBO. So I'm paying what, $10, $11 a month? What am I paying for it?
For Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Are you using my account?
No.
Oh, you're using your own account. Okay. Do you have Hulu? If you have Hulu,
I think so.
Then the add-on cost is about $2.
So what am I paying though? What is Disney Plus for ads? Do you know?
Disney Plus for ads without that add-on, I think it's like I think it's like $8 or $9.
Okay, so I'm paying like $9, $10 or whatever for Disney Plus, probably. And every 10 minutes, a 3-minute block of ads shows up.
Right.
Every 10 minutes, no matter what you're watching, I swear to God, it feels like we're watching TV again.
It's just TV.
Like this is essentially what TV was.
And every other commercial is some Pride commercial, which drives me nuts.
I don't even give a shit about that. Frankly, it's stupid. But my point is, we're paying a premium. Television was free. I mean, cable wasn't free, but
broadcast television was free. Yes,
right. But the commercials paid for it. So I'm paying $9, $10 a month, and I still have to watch 9 minutes worth of commercials in a 30-minute show. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I hate the commercials, and I don't want to pay the extra cost to not have commercials on a service that I don't plan on really using. I'm only paying the extra $2 because it's $2 for my kids to watch, some Disney stuff every once in a while. But I did notice that they're starting to they're pushing the Pride stuff really hard, and I find it.
It is Pride Month.
I understand it's Pride Month, but I find it. I guess the only word I can use is inappropriate for like there to be a live action Pride Month ad on The Lion King or whatever.
That's what they're watching though. That's who their target audience is.
It's crazy.
So that's why they got the ads. Well, it's proof. It's proof that that's their target audience now. Right. And there's a good reason for that. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah. So there's a way around that, by the way. If you get Keep Streams, you can just download everything without ads. So just a thought out there. It's totally legal. John Burns for $2. I can't say this. Cincinnatus was a farmer in a war. Does that count?
Yes, John, it counts.
Remember that scene from 300? And like the Greeks were like, you only have 300 men. We have thousands. And he goes, what are you? A baker? What were you? A blacksmith? You, sir, what were you? He's like, they're all doing jobs. And he goes,
a dentist.
What are we? I'm like, oh! I'm like, you see, sir, we brought more soldiers than you did. It's really cool.
That's one way to look at it.
Really cool line.
Yeah. So let's jump into the Acolyte. So we watched the first 2 episodes, and if you didn't, so we did it, so you didn't have to. I don't know if we'll be watching anymore. I don't think so.
No.
The Acolyte is a 2024 Star Wars-ish series by Disney Plus. Its creator is Leslie Headland, who is a self-proclaimed queer woman. I think she used the word queer woman.
Yep, queer.
So she's LGBTQ creator. Yet again, another.
She did say gay in the interview, but queer is close to.
Yeah, I think she actually says the word queer, but so she's one of these multiple. If you notice, like you go through the new Star Trek stuff, Doctor Who, Star Wars. What are you noticing? Like all the showrunners are gay, are LGBTQ, right? Not a huge surprise. If you guys want to know the truth, they've mostly always been gay. So it's not like a huge change that Hollywood is now more gay than it's ever been. It's not the case. Hollywood's always been gay, but gay people would come in and they would do their job. It wasn't about, trying to push a message. But since the LGBTQ community has had this uprising, now if you are a LGBTQ showrunner or some person in power in Hollywood and you don't push the narrative, then now you're looked at as against your own crowd.
Right.
And here's the other thing. These studios can't do anything about it. So if Leslie Headland were to say, well, I wanted to implement some gay characters in my show, but the Disney studio said no, then everybody's going to attack Disney Studios. And guess what Disney Studios don't want? They don't want that. So that's why this is happening. They got everybody over the barrel right now. You don't want to be known as the person who went against the LGBTQ community. And
that's why I call it the Rainbow Mafia, man.
It's true. I mean,
it is.
It's weird. I don't know why I don't understand the fear. Like, I don't get it. Like, if I'm a giant corporation, okay, and I know that roughly 90% of the country is not gay.
Right.
Okay. And I decide to say, look, I don't care if you're gay or if you're straight or if you're a woman or if you're a man or whatever you are. We're going to do things the right way all the way through. And if that means, I'm sorry, your new TV show is not going to be filled with a bunch of LGBTQ agenda-driven bullshit. It's just not. Sorry, if you want to be the show creator, cool, you're talented, you've got skill, you've earned the opportunity to do it. But if you can't keep yourself from putting a message in your show, you can't make a show for us.
Right.
Okay. And then that person goes, well, I'm not going to make a show then. And they go out and they tell all their friends, and their friends get mad and they go online and say, Disney wouldn't let them, blah, 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 blah. Right? 10% of the population is going to give a shit.
Right.
That's it.
I would even argue less than 10%, but yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm giving them full credit.
You're rounding up. Credit.
Right. I mean, literally, Disney, studios, Hollywood, anybody, any corporation, Budweiser, any company out there, are you okay with 10% of people fucking hating your guts? It's okay. 90% of the people are still buying from you. But what's happened is your fear has made it so that 50% of the people just don't give a shit. Maybe 60, 70, 80%, maybe 90% of the people just don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah. Now we're looking, and there's a good 40% of that 90% who are not just apathetic, but like they hate them. They hate them.
Now, I don't hate them, but when I watched The Acolyte, what I came to recognize, because I'm sitting there, I'm ready, open-minded. This is the way I watch everything. Open my mind, right? I'm like, okay, what's going to happen here? I'm waiting for it. Am I going to get some woke shit? Let's see. Is it going to be good? Maybe it's going to be good.
No.
Okay, maybe I'm going to be surprised and it's going to be like, holy shit, this is great. I'm ready for anything. What I immediately realize is there's really nothing in these first two episodes that's woke. There's really nothing that's pushed to any sort of agenda. There's nothing really happening at all. I just realize it's just fucking boring. And what I've come to realize is, and this is the way it is for me as a human being, and probably for a lot of you guys out there, I do not care to watch Star Wars content from a female perspective. Now, that doesn't make me bad. It doesn't make me misogynist. Note, I did not say I don't like girls, or I don't like women, or I don't like women in power. I don't care to watch the woman position of Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay?
Right.
I'm just being very honest here.
Yeah. I don't care.
Yes. When Carrie Ann Moss showed up, I went, oh, no, all right.
I kind of like Carrie Ann Moss. Yeah.
I like Carrie Ann Moss. I like how she can be very serious, right? So she shows up right at the beginning of this first episode, and if you guys haven't seen it, maybe a little spoilers here. So the Amandla. It's not Amanda. It's Amandla. I need to get this straight.
Amandla Stenberg.
Amandla Stenberg. She's the star of the show. She plays two characters. She plays May
A la Doge and Soji, same style.
Kind of like Doge. Yeah. So she plays two characters, basically a bad Jedi and a good Jedi, kind of, but they're not Jedis. They almost were. They were Padawans. So basically this character comes out and she's a badass, right? This May character.
Right.
And she takes on Carrie-Anne Moss. And what's weird is, I don't know if you got this feeling or not, but it was like, I felt like I was watching The Matrix. Like the way they were fighting and they slow-moed it. And like, maybe it was because it was Carrie-Anne Moss, but it felt like I was watching a fight scene from The Matrix.
It did have that vibe. And when she threw the dagger at the other guy and she's like, I guess maybe Carrie-Anne Moss can't turn it off. Like she did that for a long time.
But I'm not sure. Is it her? Because she reminded me of Neo. So like when Carrie-Anne Moss was fighting her, she was like, she went into slow-mo like it was super darn easy to block this girl, right? Like nothing could stop her. I'm this cool Jedi and I can't, right? And look, it was believable.
Sure.
Like we don't know what training this May character got, but she kicked ass. I mean, she really did. I don't know whether I should believe it or not because I haven't figured out whether or not, you know, what's given her the ability or the power to do that. But you tend to believe it. Jedis kick ass, and so do. So you kind of go through this entire process, and you're thinking, okay, this isn't so bad. But then they basically kill Carrie-Anne Moss like right away, and she's gone. You're like, oh,
instantly,
okay.
Yeah. So she's on the cover so that so for star power, but she's out.
Well, I don't know. See, are they going to flashback? They have to flashback because they've got this problem. Something happened.
Of course, they're going to flashback because that's what they do. Like that's what all of these shows nowadays do. They always just we need to go back and explain. We couldn't explain it right the first time because we're shitty writers. Let's go backwards and explain it in detail.
Well, the first problem with this show is that it takes place 100 years before the Star Wars story that we're familiar with, the Luke Skywalker story. It takes place about 100 years before that. And so immediately when you look at it and you go, okay, 100 years before that. So what's happening? Well, it's apparent that there are way more powerful women characters than male characters. You know, even if you go back to the prequels, I think all the Jedi, except for like one or two, were men, right?
Yeah. There was only one, and he died from white guilt.
Yeah. Well, so far I've counted 7 main female characters and 3 male characters, although one of the men is obviously gay. Although to their credit, they aren't acting, you know, they aren't talking about him like he's gay. He's just, you can just tell that the guy is an actual gay man. No, the Jedi, the Jedi who kind of backs up the Asian guy, the Asian Jedi.
Whatever. Okay, I believe you.
You know, yeah, I can't remember his name. It's Yord Fandar is his name. And he's like a half and half. Maybe he's Hispanic, maybe he's half black, I'm not sure. But anyways, you can tell he's probably gay. But the thing is they're not pushing that. They're not like, you don't see Jedis making out or anything like that. You don't see guys, you know, right. There's nothing overtly, but you could just tell by the way he carries himself, the way he speaks, that he's probably gay. Which is fine. So there are a lot of women.
You're like, which is fine. Like,
which is fine to the point of like, at least they're not like, oh my God, I love his ass. You know, I mean, they're not doing that.
It's like, yeah, at least they're not wearing like a rainbow colored Jedi cloak.
Right. But it's still, but even though he's like strong, he still has this feminine aura to him.
He does. Yeah.
It's hard to explain. Like guys, I don't know how to explain this. Like Star Wars, I'm not going to say I don't want to be this guy, but I'm going to be this guy. Star Wars is a masculine entertainment. Okay, I'm just gonna put it out there. When George Lucas made it, he's a dude who made, and by his wife, although helped edit the shit out of it. But it was made for everybody. But 90% of the people who liked it were guys.
Yeah, there's a meme out there that I've seen a couple of times where it says like Star Wars was made for boys, Disney's Star Wars was made for girls.
Yes, well. I guess that's what I was. Well, you just made it real easy. There you go. So I don't like to disclude anybody. If you like Star Wars and you're a girl and you love the original series and stuff, that's cool. But there's very few like freaks about Star Wars that are girls. Like all the freaks are the dudes. Like, right. Oh my God, I love it.
Hyper fans, right?
Hyper fans are guys. And so what's happened is this feels like a cutout of Star Wars. Like this show feels like it was cut from what Star Wars is supposed to be and implemented by by a bunch of girls. I want to say this in the way that's not too offensive, but at the same time, it's not meant to be. They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything on the show, bro. The girls were trained fighters.
Yeah.
The Jedi girl who's in charge is in charge. And she's not like, listen, you stupid ass dudes, you do what the hell I say. That didn't happen. She just was in charge. And the Master Soul, who's like, but, and she's like, I don't care, no but. You get your back up, but get back over here. We're going to talk about it. And he listened to her. But the point of the matter that they feel like they need to diverse the universe with a bunch of girls in these shows, going back from Rey to the black girl in Obi-Wan series, like Riva to all the different shows. Look at The Mandalorian. They had to bring in the female bounty hunter to kind of overpower his episode, right? His show,
right?
You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And then what about that series? You got the female Jedi. They're only female Jedi from the original series. Ahsoka. Yeah. It's the only female Jedi.
Everything's just based entirely on.
She gets her own show
on women. Like
it's all about girls.
Obi-Wan was supposed to be about Obi-Wan, but like half the show was about
it started out about Obi-Wan
or Revan,
and then it was about Leia or Riva.
Right.
Yeah. That's kind of what the problem is. And so as a result, all of us guys who like Star Wars watch this and go, all right, it's not wrong, I guess.
Right.
But it's not fun.
I guess it's not fun.
I'm not like,
I don't care.
Oh my God, look at May. She's totally kicking ass. That's awesome. And I'm sorry. I don't know what it is about. Maybe I need more story. Maybe I need to know why she's kicking ass. Maybe I need to give a shit first. When Sigourney Weaver went in and beat the shit out of aliens, she was running for her life. I mean, she was trying to survive. I mean, there was some sort of way that I could connect with that.
There is something too that modern storytelling does a lot, especially in these action adventure type TV shows and movies. Like they start something with like, look how badass this person is. And then they spend the rest of the series showing you how she got there, via flashbacks and different interception type thoughts and a lot of exposition. And you're like, everything is sort of backwards. I know you want to start off really fast and really, really hardcore so that people get engaged, but like you can do that without just showing a fight scene and then spending 3 episodes telling me how that person became a fighter. Like it's
right. And now they didn't do that. In fairness, right. So far,
not yet.
They will, but they probably will. Let me give you guys I'm going to tell you the whole series right now, so you don't have to watch it. I'm going to tell you, and I'll bet you, Brian, that this is exactly the way it goes. You ready?
Right.
Here it is. Good twin, bad twin. That's what we got. They're twins, by the way, sisters. One's trying to kill Jedi. There's a huge misunderstanding. The 4 Jedi that are being hunted did something they thought was right 10 years earlier, but something bad happened, resulting in the raising of this acolyte. So basically, these 4 Jedi were on this planet. They're supposed to watch over, protect something, do something, and they made a decision that screwed up, and people died or something. Something terrible happened. As a result, the bad Amanda Steinberg May character now seeks revenge on these 4 Jedi, right? So here's what's going to happen. The Acolyte wanted revenge, was trained by some Sith type being, like some sort of Sith Lord or upcoming Sith Lord. I'm sure it'll be, right? What's going to end up happening is the evil twin will be the victim, a misunderstood person who didn't realize the Jedi weren't really the ones who did it wrong. And in the end, the big bad is this Sith Lord all along. And then she'll switch sides and become good. Both sisters will fight to take down this evil male Sith Lord character. It's true. Now, there is male. They did show him.
Whatever.
Okay.
Right?
So this is the entire show. Watch that it will end this way. If it doesn't, I'll be shocked.
Can I add to that? I can add that the sisters will be vindicated some way because of the horrible actions of
Yes.
some other Jedi that had, like this show is going to further blur the lines between Jedi and Sith.
Yeah, what'll happen is the Sith Lord will have done the thing 10 years ago that caused the Jedi to make a bad choice, and it will end up being his fault.
Right.
So the fact that she's already killed 2 of these Jedi will just be like, it's okay.
Yeah. So there's a couple things that, and we're going to get off this topic now, but I do want a couple things that I didn't understand about this, and you tell me if I'm wrong here. Why did they think that Oshi killed the Carry-On Moss Jedi?
Because she has a twin sister.
But Oshi was in space in a ship, and they don't have a teleporter.
They didn't know.
They don't.
All they got was a description of the person who killed the Carry-On Moss character, and they're like, boom, oh yeah, that girl's out here. Now they thought May was dead from the original event.
Like what kind of description? Like black girl with braids. Oh, we only know one of those
good
guys.
And bad. Just say good and bad.
What?
Good and bad. Good girl, bad girl. Which, you're talking about. So the bad one, the bad girl, the bad twin.
Yeah, May is the bad one, and Oshi's
was
the
thought to have died at the results of 10 years ago.
But the bartender's eyewitness statement was what? Like, I don't understand how he even could have described this person that is in space on a ship. Like that was such a.
No, he described the girl who was killing Carrie-On Moss.
And she's in space, and they don't have teleporters.
And the Jedi knew what the Jedi. He was able to describe it. Well, he said that she had Jedi power, Jedi abilities, and they knew that the black girl, the good black girl, was a Padawan. So she obviously has some Jedi abilities. So I guess they must have put 2 and 2 together and went looking for her.
I think it's a hyper stretch.
Maybe there's not a ton of black girls out there with Jedi ability yet.
I know they wanted to put her on the ship so they can do that. You show the establishing shot of the ship and all that. They should have just had her on the ground. It would have made more sense, but whatever.
I didn't feel like it was terribly distracting. Like I didn't.
No,
feel
I just feel like it was a massive, like a forced plot push to get them into this situation when you could have just put her on the ground and done the same exact thing.
Well, they wanted to show. They also wanted to set the setting, so it's 100 years before, right? They wanted to show the Federation, right? So you had the Federation aliens.
Oh, I hate those aliens, guys.
Right?
They're so gay.
But they wanted to set up the time frame, so I get that. I mean, this actually wasn't a bad move.
Sure, okay.
But it's
put
like
her on
I said,
put her
guys,
on the ground though, and there's no like, how would they know? Put her on the ground instead of the ship, and your problem solved.
They're probably well. They also wanted to, I don't know, show her ability. They had to put her in a situation where she could do stuff. So not only does she go from being on this ship where they capture her, and they put her on. This is so weird. They put her on a convict ship.
Yeah.
Run by droids.
The prison ship. I love this. The first thing she says, it's so the entire prison transport is ran by droids,
right?
And they're like, "Hey, what's up? We're planning to escape. Are you in?" Like immediately,
like they don't even. I never met her.
Yeah,
they don't know what she's all about.
Hey, planning to escape. Yeah. They don't even know her name yet. And that the whole idea of a prison transport ran exclusively by droids is a horrible idea.
It's just a bad idea.
It's a horrible,
so many things,
totally and mentally challenged idea. And of course, everything goes wrong. Of course,
right.
Like, what would you expect? Like, I'm gonna put these clunky droids in charge of this prison transport full of highly dangerous prisoners.
Do you think like month 3, like the 15th ship that's like crash landed, and somebody's like, what are we doing wrong here?
Yeah, there's like 15 ships have crash landed, 3 have been taken over, and 1 has currently been turned into a pirate vessel, and it's attacking other ships. Right. You know what we should do? Stop doing this.
Right. So let's go a little bit before we leave this here. So I mean, if you want to keep watching The Acolyte, so far I will just say no woke stuff. It could change episode 3. I don't know why. I'm not exactly sure why the showrunner said it was the gayest Star Wars ever.
Oh yeah, that's show that.
What's the tweet on that? It's because she said basically, look, don't be out. You're not a Star Wars fan if you're racist or hating people. And by no means do I hate anything about this show as a result of someone's race or sex. Okay, I may not be into it or enjoy it, as a result of someone's sex, but not. I don't dislike anybody.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But we don't hate any of you, but we do hate your actions, and your actions are creating shitty Star Wars. All right.
Well, I just think, you took my fun. It's like, okay,
you took my ball, and you're playing your own game, and I'm like, what? Hey guys,
I'm not a big fan of necessarily. Okay, there was a boys' club and a girls' club, and then at some point, somebody's like, you can't have boys' clubs and girls' clubs.
No. First they said you can't have boys' clubs that exclude girls. And for the longest time, it was okay to have a girls' club, but the boys' club had to also accept girls. And now we're going the other way too.
Yeah, but and I don't think Star Wars should be a boys' club thing. But the one thing you'll notice that's missing from the show is any sense of real testosterone.
You know, anyone can like this Star Wars. Like we're not trying to gatekeep and say Star Wars for boys. No, that's not. Like some of my best friends that are all that where we bonded over Star Wars are girls.
I'm just keeping it real.
My first crush in middle school was a girl that had a lightsaber that she brought to school. I was like, yo, I'm gonna marry that girl.
We like fellow nerds, 100%.
Yeah, it says I don't care what your gender is, dude. But like, it shouldn't be all about your, And I'll say it. I'm sorry. I'll be like, it's an agenda-driven thing. Like you're pushing either this new wave feminist agenda, or you're pushing a new wave gay, LGBT, whatever agenda. And instead of telling a good story, you're trying to shape your world with your power into this message that you are trying to deliver to people. Well, damn the fans, damn the profitability.
It's Kathy's fault too, because what Kathy's telling people, she can go all the way back to the Star Wars movies. She wants these showrunners to make the show their own.
Right.
She tells them, listen, I want to see a Leslie Headland show. Well, let me tell you what, if you want a Leslie Headland show, Leslie's already told you she's gay.
Well, I mean,
so she's going to make a Leslie Headland show.
Yeah. Well, why don't you put her on another network then? Like, why do you want to make
it's Kathy is doing this.
Same thing with that Ryan Johnson. He goes, she's like, Ryan Johnson, make a Ryan Johnson Star Wars.
Make a Ryan Johnson Star Wars.
Well, I really wanted you to fund my World War II epic. So I'm just going to do that instead, but I'm going to wrap it in Star Wars. That's what happened. Like he wanted to make a World War II movie.
That's what happened. Yeah.
And they were like, make Star Wars. He goes, so World War II with Star Wars. Okay. Like,
yeah. But to be fair to Leslie here, so far, there hasn't been anything gay about the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte.
No.
Unless I'm missing something. Have you noticed anything?
I mean, the characters have a gay, like they're all sort of gay. But they don't.
Well, no, I'm not
doing anything gay.
But our complaint always is gay people coming and doing gay things.
Right. Yeah. There's no gay people
doing anything gay.
It's just sort of cringy. It's just sort of cringy. And there's like in the entire 2 episodes is like one white guy, and he basically poisons himself. And I'm not sure why, because of his white colonizer guilt. I'm assuming.
So that was weird. It was weird. Like he didn't speak to anybody for 10 years, and I'm like, here's what's funny. He looks like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
A little bit.
Right. He's like, okay,
version.
This guy looks like Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm like, okay, we got a Jedi in the house here that I might be interested in. He might be cool. Right. And then
and he seemed sort of powerful, like she couldn't touch him until she invoked his white guilt.
That's exactly not white guilt.
I'm making a joke. She invoked his guilt, and she's like,
she invoked his guilt.
I'll let you take the poison.
And he said, I've been waiting for you, May. And you're like, okay.
So dumb.
We don't even know what this character was. Now maybe there'll be flashbacks with Carrie on Moss and this character, and maybe
flashbacks. That's what we need.
Happen.
Yeah, fill the scene with flashbacks. That makes a lot of sense.
I mean, I agree with what you said before, and the Acolyte shows it more than any other Star Wars show thus far. The need to move forward,
right?
Like if this happens after post Rey. Okay, maybe this is what Star Wars is now, but it doesn't feel correct to me because this doesn't feel like what Star Wars would have been 100 years before Luke Skywalker.
It definitely does. And once again, we're fucking traveling in the past. Anyways, let's look at this, and then when I get off this topic.
Well, we still have to address the comment that she made.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to show. I'm about to play
about making white people cry.
Okay. So let's do the gay thing first, and we'll do that.
Okay.
Here's her comments about how it's the gayest show ever.
I'm going to ask you both because this is, I would say, arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a considerable margin. And are you excited about that? Are you
Not the
bracing
gayest
yourself?
Star Wars. Not the.
It's pretty gay, let's be honest.
So I'm assuming it's going to get a lot more gay too, because these people have all seen the entire series so far.
Maybe.
And this guy is like, this is the gayest Star Wars. And they start laughing. And he's like, let's be honest, it's pretty gay. And he's clearly gay as well.
So they're laughing, right? They think it's fun. I mean, I don't know. So far, I mean, maybe all the actors are gay.
Maybe that's
that
what
could
it is.
definitely be possible. I mean, I look at them all and I'm like, yeah, they all seem like they might be gay.
Leslie,
Yeah.
are you?
But I mean, I don't know. No, they're not saying they are. You know how sometimes we talked about this before. Sometimes you're flamboyant. Flamboyant characters come across feminine. So I give flamboyant characters like a feminine tilt. And if your show leans more feminine than masculine, for me personally, it's usually just not as good. I just don't like shows made.
Yeah.
I just don't like shows made for girls. I just don't. And
it sounds like we're saying like we're like middle schoolers. Like we don't want to watch shows made for girls. No,
no,
it's more like we just don't care about the high, like the over dramatic. Like so when you're over dramatic about trivial things, we just aren't interested. When everything is about your feelings, even when it's hyper trivial, we're just not interested.
Right.
Like
So there's
these are things that we don't care. Like we don't care. And when you take an action show, like say the Flash or something,
right?
And you have all these cool action pieces, and you're telling a story about this hero, and then you inject a character in there that has no purpose being there whatsoever, and you put all this onus on this person and her dramatic take on everything and how she feels and how she needs to make other people feel and how they feel, and all of a sudden, whether you have action, whether you have a hero-driven content or not, it's so riddled and marbled with all this fat, this like hyper, sensitive, dramatic, over-the-top feelings fat, that it no longer is interesting to us. In fact, it becomes annoying, which is why we started The Flash and then we stopped watching The Flash.
Right.
For that exact same purpose. And we are seeing that in almost every show. Almost every show we're watching, not every show, but almost every show, every movie has a lot of that fat just marbled throughout it. And it's just like, we're not interested. Cool.
Yeah, and there's an audience for this, 100%. But it's just, all we're saying is the audience is like really small.
Right.
Like it's, probably 5 to 10% of the whole Star Wars family audience.
Right.
I'm guessing. Maybe 15%. Maybe there's some ladies who love this. Maybe there's some Star Wars women who love Star Wars who are like, yeah, this is cool to me. Maybe 15%. Let's say 20% of the Star Wars fandom will like this. Let me ask you a question. If you're Disney, don't you want 80 to 100% of the fandom to want to watch your show? Why would you do anything other than making something that 80 to 100% of Star Wars fans want to watch?
Yeah, I've been gauging the interest of some of these shows with my kids. So I have two 12-year-old twin daughters, just like them, and Soji and Doge, or whatever their name was. And they're nerds like me, and they like superhero stuff, and they like science fiction, unless it's Star Trek, because they've been poisoned by Star Trek. They will not watch Star Trek because their mom said Star Trek was horrible. So that's a young age, so they don't even try. But they like Star Wars, and after watching that first episode, I wanted to gauge their reaction. So I came out last night. We're eating food. We're like, hey, let's get some Wiener Schnitzel, which is why I got this cool hat right here. I love
Wiener
wieners.
Schnitzel.
Look at that.
You weren't brave enough to wear it the whole show.
Oh no, I'm gonna save it for Salty Saturday because they call me queer on that show.
Oh, nice. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, and we watched the first episode, and like they were interested in the first like 5 or 6 minutes, but this is how I gauge a reaction. Like they start watching, and like they slowly start to like drift to their tablets, or one is now all of a sudden like out of the room. She's making popcorn or something.
So at what point did they start to go away from it?
About 15, 20 minutes in, they started to drift away, and I paused it for like a full 5 minutes, and they didn't even notice. So like they weren't interested. Now,
so they liked it right up, and they did the fight thing, and then where did they get disinterested?
They lost interest after the prison transport. They heavily lost interest.
Okay, and it slows way down at that point.
Yeah, it slows way down. Meanwhile, now I hate the Flash, but my kid loves the Flash. So she is one of those nerds who likes the girl stuff too.
Well, she's a girl. It makes sense.
She's a girl. And I can't stand it anymore, but she's into it. So they definitely have the Flash knew exactly what the audience they went for, and they did it. I don't even think most of the audience that they're going for is going to care for this, because they put a lot of Star Wars stuff in there, but the story is just not interesting. So the story still has to be interesting. If you fill it full of all the femme fat, that's what I'm gonna call it from now on, femme fat, you still have to make the meat taste good. Like, there's still got to be a story that is interesting with characters that are interesting, or you're not even going to get that audience. You're just going to fall.
This story is essentially the journey of one girl's past.
Right.
That's really what the story is. The journey of one girl's past. That's all it is. It doesn't have bigger overarching effects on the Federation or for the Star Wars universe. It really is just this singular look at this one character. And I think you're right. I think that makes it very uninteresting.
Yeah, guys, we're almost done. We're gonna finish this video, and we'll talk about the white comment, and then we'll do your super chats. So I have not forgotten your super chats, I promise. All right, this is her response to it's the gayest Star Wars show ever.
Am I gay?
Yes. Well, no, I know you are gay, but I'm asking, are you excited about putting this? This is going to be a talking point.
Is it going to be a talking point?
I'm sure so.
Because nerds are gay.
Well, some nerds are.
Dude, when Alamanda, I can't. What's her name? Allegra.
You're talking about the Leslie or the
black
actress?
Chick. Yeah, the actress.
Her name's Amandla.
Amandla definitely has some issues with white folks and nerds, because she's like, all nerds are gay. She said she definitely has. The well has been poisoned for the people that she's supposed to be entertaining.
Well, she's been lied to. Like, all the people. The problem is all the people who show up to these events these days are mostly gay.
Right.
I mean, they are. I mean, we've been to how many of these events where you're like,
yep.
Oh my God, it's like an LGBTQ fest.
Yeah,
right? It is almost every one of them. So I get why she would say all nerds are gay, because the rest of us nerds are like, look, we don't want to get beat up at these places. Okay. Sometimes there's some nervousness going on.
Go to STLV this year. Okay. And
careful.
just walk around for like 5 minutes. It's like Rainbow City, because like slowly, the regular old school nerds, like legacy nerds, have sort of stopped showing up, and it's been taken over by the Rainbow Mafia. Now there's hardcore people that still do it regardless, or don't care, or don't even notice, or they're apathetic to it. But a lot of people are like, yeah, I'm not into these characters, and like this isn't even about classic Star Trek anymore. It's about
just look at Star Wars Day. We watched Star Wars. You saw what they did.
Oh yeah,
it was like gay Star Wars Day.
Oh my God, it was like the presenter was like in drag. Remember that?
Yeah, it was weird, man. The whole thing was just
crazy. Like, it was so
she would think that, bro.
Of course she would. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense why she thinks that all nerds are gay.
Right.
She's not a nerd, obviously.
No. So this is what the director says.
Well, that's true. But in my world, nerds are gay.
Okay. Was this the fun element of?
No, I don't think so. And yet people have told me that it's the gayest Star Wars, and I frankly...
You're offended?
Into it. No.
Oh God, it's too much feminine energy.
So I can't hear it. Tell me what was it?
Oh yeah, she was like, no, people have told me it's the gayest Star Wars ever, but frankly, I'm like, and she's like, are you offended? She goes, no, I'm into it.
Oh, all right. Well, I mean, so far 2 episodes, I haven't seen anything. Maybe it gets gayer. I don't know. But moving on to Amandla Stenberg's thing. So it came out the last few days. There was a tweet put out by, I think it was put out by Woke. What's it called?
Something
Endless
woke. Endless and wokeness.
End wokeness. Yeah. And basically it was this interview with her and Trevor Noah, where in this very small clip, and it basically says, you can play the clip actually if you want.
I'll play it. Here we go.
What do you want them to walk away with? Because I know everyone has a slightly different feeling.
Well, I mean, white people crying actually was the goal.
So people saw that.
Yeah.
And everybody went, let's burn the Acolyte down.
It was about another show, though, right? Because
But it had nothing to do with it. In fact, that interview was back in 2018.
Yeah, so it wasn't about the Acolyte, but it was about something else she was doing. But that is openly racist. Imagine if
actually, it's not.
How is it?
It could be termed that.
What
but
if you said
let me
it's
tell you, it
designed
doesn't
to make
matter.
black people cry?
This is why it's very important, people's context.
Sure.
Right? Context is important. Okay, we need to know what this was about. So she had just made a movie. Now you can question whether or not this movie should be made. She just made a movie called The Hate You Give. And the movie was based on a young adult novel by George Tillman Jr. And it's essentially about racism and police brutality. And the idea was to make a movie that would make white people feel empathetic to black people who are being targeted by police and racism. So the reason she's saying this is, listen, I will be honest with you guys, no matter what. I'm sure. Would it be better for us if she was being a racist and talking shit about Star Wars? Absolutely.
I mean, it'd be funnier. Yeah,
it would be funnier. But the reality is what she's saying is, I believe that yes, the movie was to make white people cry because they were trying to get white people to be empathetic. So that was the joke. The joke wasn't, I mean, maybe she is racist. Who knows? Maybe she has racial tendencies. Maybe it wasn't cool to say something like that. But I do believe the joke was intended. Well, yeah, The Hate You Give was made to make white people cry.
Right.
Because they want white people to cry for black people. So
right.
I believe that's what she was saying, if we're being honest.
I would argue that movie shouldn't have been made. The movie feels racist too, almost like the magical Negro. Like we were talking about that earlier. This is off topic, but Shane and I were talking about what was it called? The Magical Society of Negroes.
Magical Society of Negroes.
We were like, either this movie is the most racist movie ever made, or it's satire and it's supposed to be this funny because it was so racist. Right. It was hilarious how racist it was.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are elements to it that are very interesting for like group dynamics, and how sometimes you do get ignored when you're not part of a group. Even whether you're a white person in an all black group or a black person in an all white group, there are things that happen that are weird. But in this situation, the movie The Hate You Give, the idea for this movie was to bring the Black Lives Matter movement into the mainstream. That was their point for the movie. Oh. So it had its own agenda.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying. So we're just being honest, giving you what it is. It needs
to be brought in the mainstream.
It was prior to everything that happened.
Okay.
It was prior to all the BLM stuff that happened.
Shortly after that.
Yes. It went mainstream for sure.
We had the Summer of Love.
Whatever you want to call that. The Summer of Destruction.
Summer of Destruction. Everyone knows where it is now. All right, well, mission accomplished. All right, so listen, if you're watching this on archive, let us know what you guys thought about Star Wars Acolyte. Did you watch it? Did you not care? Did you just give us your thoughts?
I really want to know what you think. And now I'm curious, like they might actually get me to watch a couple more episodes just because I want to find out if it gets gay. Like, because based on that, she's saying, well, yeah, it's the gayest thing. Yeah, whatever. I just want to find out are we going to have like Jedi lovers, male Jedi lovers?
100%. No, they're gonna be lesbians for sure, though.
Will the sisters kiss?
No, I hope not.
I love your reaction to that. I don't know. Well, listen, it would be really hard since she's the same person.
I mean, they could do it. It's possible.
I know, but that is so weird. Yeah.
Dame Frodo Lives. She has changed her name to Frodo Lives to Dame Frodo Lives. I'm slow tonight, but it was a rough week. Thank you, Frodo, for the $2. I appreciate that.
Appreciate it, Frodo.
From John Burns, was she a good witch or a bad witch? LOL.
A little bit of both, John.
Right.
She was both.
Yeah. By the way, the droid she had strapped to her hip, Pip.
Oh, Pip.
I said toy because it was literally made to sell. Like the most low effort toy possible.
And guess how many people are going to buy it?
None.
Nobody's going to buy it. BB-8 didn't even get bought. I mean, come on.
I bought a BB-8.
Did you really?
I liked the first, with Force Awakens, I was not totally sold on it being garbage yet.
Fooled you, man.
I was like, No, it's a
Tricked
good
you?
start. This is a good start. No, man.
Okay, now the question is, did you buy the little furry creature?
No,
from the
no,
eighth movie.
No, because that was such a massive. That was like,
What was that thing
like
called?
we need to invent something that is going to be the cheapest possible thing to create that we can sell for $37. And like, they made a plushie. That's all they did.
Yeah.
They made a plushie and they put it in the movie. And the thing is, like, that plushie is going to cost them like $1.10 to create, and they're going to sell it at their parks for like $30 a
Absolutely.
plush. John Burns for $2. Thank you, John. He says, remember J Law was the cause of all action movies. That's right. Jennifer Lawrence said she was the first female heroine action movie star.
Did she really say that?
She did. Yeah.
What the fuck's wrong with that girl?
No, I mean, she was so ratioed though. Like the tweets were like, they just started naming people I gave
Like-
before.
Look, we can go way back, lady.
We can go back 30, 40 years.
Even Angelina Jolie was an action star before you were with
Yeah.
Tomb Raider
Yeah, Tomb Raider.
and Aliens. I don't know, Sigourney Weaver. Maybe
Sure.
she wasn't an action
Yeah.
star. I don't know.
Archmage, they're called the Porg.
The
That's what they're called.
Porgs, yes. It's a dirty name.
Porg. X is now allowing Porg on their platform.
Did you get Rec Thoughts 8-month member for 8 months?
I can't put it up. No, I didn't see it. I don't
It says
see
member
in
for
my
8 months
list.
from Rec Thoughts. What up, my dudes?
What up, my
Glad to see ya.
dude?
You gonna keep watching The Acolyte? Rumors are flying about episode 3. Let's look it up really quick. What are
Also, Dame Frodo also gifted 5 pop culture memberships. And I missed
Woo.
it because it's not on
Thank
my little
you.
Twidget backend thing.
That's awesome. More fun in the back end. Wait, that sounded bad.
Hey, you guys want to have more fun in the back end?
Let's see. Fans can expect The Acolyte episode 3 to release at the same time as the first 2 episodes on Disney+. The upcoming episode will likely focus on the climatic confrontation between May and Wookiee Jedi Kelnaka, alongside the other Jedi, Sol, Yord, and Jeki. So we did see at the end of episode 2, Wookiee Jedi Kelnaka, which, are we familiar with other Wookiees that have been Jedi?
Only
Is
in,
this the first
only in
one?
books, yeah.
This is the first one, right? And
Yeah.
on the big screen.
Right.
And we do see a thing where the Wookiee like takes the guy's weapons and Yeah, so what's gonna happen? Is May gonna kill the Wookiee?
Yeah, guaranteed. She's gonna rip his arms off. All right, man. Let's talk about the next thing. Let's talk about a little bit of Cuomo in your life. A little bit of Cuomo. I
I don't know why you did that right
don't
now.
know why either.
That was absolutely terrible.
Sorry. Patrick Bet
Chris
Davis.
Cuomo. Yes. Go ahead.
No, you set it up.
Well, Patrick Bet Davis, if you guys haven't seen his show Valuetainment, it's pretty interesting. He has
It's Patrick Bet David, my bad.
Patrick, you said Davis. I said Davis.
Yeah.
David. Yeah, he's got a pretty interesting show. It's ranges from popular culture into politics. He kind of covers a little bit of everything. He's got a couple of people on his panel that I don't really care about. But it's really interesting to listen to him talk. Well, he decided to host a debate. And the debate included Chris Cuomo and libertarian podcaster. I can't remember his name. Edward, do you know it?
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. I was getting the video primed.
And I watched his channel, Dave Smith. His name's Dave Smith. And Dave Smith, who knows Patrick Bet Davis, and Dave Smith is kind of in this like the Joe Rogan kind of. He's like in the like a miniature version of the elite, freedom libertarian type people that are on YouTube.
Right.
And he knows Patrick, and so he said, "Hey, can you?" And Chris Cuomo was kind of going to work for Patrick Bet Davis. What'd you say, David? Patrick Bet David. He was going to work for him, and so there was some sort of relationship there. So somehow, he talks Cuomo into coming on and doing this debate with Dave Smith. But what really nobody realized, it's a live debate. Chris may not have realized he was being brought out to be publicly humiliated.
Yeah, okay. I think Chris did know. I gotta tell you. Let me tell you something. I think if I'm right. Okay, listen, bro. There's a camera. Hold up. Sorry. Okay.
Wait. Hold on. There you go.
We're in the middle of a live debate. What are you doing? Are you boomers? I actually
nobody told him, bro.
One of my 3 jobs is doing live events for a community center, and basically, boomers never are aware of cameras. They're never. I've had boomers directly come up to me. I'm literally standing behind a camera, and they'll stand right in front of the camera and address me. Hey man, hey, do you not see there's a camera? You're just gonna cover the entire camera with your body, bro? God, this infuriates me. By the way,
you not get it? Can you not join the boomer hate, please? There's already way too much.
There's second boomer. Boomer's kids also right behind him.
I just want to point out there's too much boomer hate out there, and it's really not cool.
I'm just saying, someone's like, it's okay to be a boomer and not know things, but like you can't relish in the knowledge of you not knowing shit. Okay.
Well, flash alert, and I'm not a boomer, even though I kind of looking like one. I'm not a boomer, but I will say that old people, Brian, are not really aware of their surroundings anymore. I don't know what happens. You go from being very aware of your surroundings to all of a sudden you have no fucking clue where you're at. And as Biden will show you, he has no clue on whether it's time to sit or stand like he did earlier today.
Yeah, so I'm
kind of, you're old.
So I have a lot of respect for, back to this, I have a lot of respect for, if I'm right, I have a lot of respect for Chris Cuomo's actions in this sense, not his actions in the past. But if because he's getting a job with Patrick Bet David, like he's actually like
not anymore.
Oh, he's not anymore. What?
Yeah, he's doing the Chris Cuomo project.
No, but it's still being funded by Valuetainment, is it not?
I don't believe so. I think they couldn't come to. I don't know. We'll have to go more into it.
Well, whatever it is, he knowingly showed up to what can only be described as a lion's den.
A public
lynching.
Yeah.
And he's going to debate, what's his name? David?
It's Dave Smith.
Dave Smith, who, if you can just look him up, the guy is very fiery, quick, on his feet about something that he was in hindsight, obviously wrong about, whether he knew it or not. So he's going to go and debate someone who is going to tear him to pieces about something he was definitely wrong about in hindsight. I mean, if he knowingly did that to take his licks and to respectfully have that conversation, then I have a lot of respect for that action.
I'm going to say I would love to believe that's the case, but here's probably the reality is that Chris Cuomo thought, nobody will get the better of me. He probably is so full of himself that he's like, no way this fucking guy, Dave Smith, who's got a podcast, is possibly going to be able to outmaneuver me.
It's a podcast. I was on television.
And honestly, Dave Smith does kind of come across as
angry podcast guy. Right.
Yeah, but not as, he's not dumb or anything, but he doesn't come across as an intellectual either. Like,
no, he's like an everyman.
He's like an every guy. Yeah, he's like an everyday guy. So I think Chris thought, I'll take this guy to the woodshed. Problem is he didn't realize the tenacity that Dave Smith was going to have and the lack of like, I don't give a shit how you feel. Let's call it out. And then have Patrick Bet David like show clips of him basically lying. It was
he's like, I never said that. And Patrick's like, just a second. Play the clip.
If any were frustrated,
I never did that. Just a second, sir. Play that clip.
If any of you were frustrated during COVID that your feelings about the whole topic were being hushed and you weren't allowed to talk about it, otherwise you were a racist or you were somehow anti-government or anti-vax and you couldn't talk about your feelings about it, this was very cathartic.
No, it's very cathartic. You're right.
It was very cathartic to watch someone who was obviously on the other side, who was shaming everyone else about their feelings about taking the vaccination, taken to the woodshed.
Yeah, and when he says, like, I never shamed anyone. Play that clip. It's like,
right.
I mean, there is like visual proof of all these things, and I understand what if you were light, and I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt right now because he came into the lion's den, right? If you weren't aware and you really thought you were doing the right thing because you were lied to and you were given bad information, right? And so, in hindsight, but how can you then lie about what you did in hindsight when you know there's a visual record of it? You were literally on television. Like,
yeah, he didn't. I don't think he thought Patrick was going to do that. But here's the other thing: is Dave Smith made a mistake. He probably would have gotten more out of Chris. Now, Chris, here, let me tell you the reason why Chris is really on the show. He's got his own podcast.
Right.
He got fired from CNN. He's working for News Nation, which he's like,
look at that crowd. Look at that crowd.
Bunch of white people in that crowd right there.
Hey, what's up? What's up, Cuomo? Sorry. I'm being racist.
But
right
no, it's funny because he talks about News Nation. And this is true. Like we always talk about, we just want somebody to tell the news. Problem is most people don't want to watch somebody who's just going to tell the news.
No, you want opinions.
So Chris Cuomo is doing his own podcast and he wants people to come watch it. And he wants people like us to watch it, which, by the way, he got me to come watch it today because he had the CDC's, the Trump's CDC main guy.
Oh, Fauci.
Who was not Fauci.
I forgot his name.
No, Fauci was NIAID.
Right.
And the CDC guy who was they kept his mouth shut. They shut him down because he was the one saying that this probably came from a lab, but nobody wanted him to say anything about it. Well, he spoke out on the Cuomo show. Anyways, more about that later. Very interesting interview with Cuomo.
Remember Jon Stewart? This came from a lab. Wait, are you saying?
No, you got to break it down right.
He's like, I'm sorry, you're calling it the Wuhan. I'm not.
You're saying people got sick right outside the Wuhan viral lab, you know.
Right.
Come
That's
to find
like
out,
saying there's a chocolate infection at the Nestle factory.
Chocolate factory. Yeah, no, it's funny because he talks about the fact that China probably knew in August and September of 2019 that they already had an outbreak because they had the military games there in Wuhan and they wouldn't let anybody come watch them. And it didn't make any sense. So they were aware of what had happened, but they didn't shut it down, which leads you to believe, why they didn't do that. And so it's a very interesting interview. But what happens here with Cuomo, he basically, you should watch it because it does feel cathartic. If he would have just, instead of asking him to apologize, this is where Dave Smith makes his mistake. He asked him to apologize for what he said instead of just trying to get him to admit he was wrong. See, if he would have just admitted he was wrong, Chris probably would have admitted wrongdoing to some of this stuff, but he wasn't about to apologize because the guy's way too masculine to be apologizing.
Yeah, he's one of those alpha
He even
types.
thinks he can beat up Joe Rogan, which he said.
This was my face during watching this. This is my face during watching this. Yeah. I just wanted to show like they show the audience. That was me watching the entire thing.
Everybody's smiling.
It was cathartic. Yeah.
So, anyways, that was interesting. But you've got to give credit to Cuomo who went out there. I don't know what his intention was, but he went out there and he tried to spin that shit. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's a quick clip of it so you guys can see what's
He's
happening.
got the long COVID. Bummer for him.
Mixed information, and I know it. I don't blame him for that. He will be blamed for it, not by me. Then it gets bad. That's when he started calling it the China virus. I said to him, in the beginning you said China's been great to us. You can Google it. You can have that great producer you have. Look it up. That's what I wanted to show because he's like, you can have that great, producer back there, look it up. Because he's trying to get his own clip. Because Patrick came with that great producer. Right. He had all these clips already lined up. Like he knew what the rebuttals would be ahead of time. It was well produced. So I just think it's funny how he's like, well, I said, and you can look it up. Like have that producer, look it up.
Well, and he's totally full of shit because,
Yeah.
you know, CNN and Chris Cuomo was right there on board. And what he didn't say, and God, I wish they would have talked about this. What I wish they would have said, I wish Chris would have said, look, we don't know any news. We don't actually go learn anything. We don't research anything. One of our news managers tells us this is the news, and then we freaking report it. Okay. And then we have an opinion about it based on what our news manager just told us. That's it, guys. They're not out there hustling any story. They're taking what left-wing media pundits have already been passing around to each other, and they're commenting on it. You know, and that's the problem. And Chris Cuomo was guilty of it. We'll come to find out they were wrong about most of it. And now the chickens have come to roost. That's it.
Welcome to the Thunderdome, Cuomo.
Oh my God, I was watching Mad Max. I watched Mad Max and The Road Warrior, right? And HBO or Max just pissing me off with these ads in the middle of just when Mel Gibson's about to do something cool, and then 2 minutes of ads just drive me crazy.
Just so you know, ad blocker works on HBO Max.
But I don't watch on the computer.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
All right, well. I don't know if I just lost Shane or if I just lost myself. Oh, he's back. What's that?
If you can use it on a Roku, let me know.
There might be a way to do that, actually. You might be able to, like, stream it from your Chrome or something. I don't know. Although, when I watch Max, I don't see any ads because that sweet ad blocker. All right. Now we're done with Cuomo. Let's talk about the lawfare. Let's talk about this Trump trial real quick. Now that the smoke has lifted a little bit, the dust has settled a little bit. Plus, it happened as we were doing our show last week, basically.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk about this because, and I have this montage made by Don't Walk, Don't Run. And this is why I want to talk about it. Just real quick.
Donald Trump, the twice impeached former president and current Republican nominee, is now running as a convicted felon.
2 words, convicted felon.
Convicted felon.
He is a convicted felon.
Donald Trump guilty as a felon.
Convicted felon.
The 45th president of the United States is now basically convicted felon.
Donald Trump, twice impeached, convicted felon.
Technically, he
They're all
is
just
a
saying
convicted felon, legally speaking, a convicted felon.
Donald Trump will now campaign for president in this country as a convicted felon. Convicted felon, former president of the United States, like any other convicted felon. A convicted felon, convicted felon.
The former leader of the free world, Donald Trump, now a convicted felon.
The former president of the United States.
Okay, I'm going to stop it now. Just so you know, that goes on for 18 minutes.
What?
There's an 18-minute montage of reporters calling Donald Trump a convicted felon because this was the point. And you can not agree with me. That's fine. I don't care. But gloves off here. The point of this bullshit trial was that they can put convicted felon in front of Donald Trump's name leading up to the election because they are afraid of the man. Period. The end. If you look at literally every single detail out there, most people could not even tell you what charge he was convicted of or whatever you want to call it.
Well, they don't really know yet.
Right. And here's the crazy part. When they went to the jury, they gave them, here's 3 options of which you can convict him on. They weren't even, I'm not joking. They weren't even
mix and match.
You can mix and match your convictions on what you think he did. They weren't even unanimous on what he did wrong. And most people couldn't answer what he did wrong. And so for all the people out there saying, well, this was law, 12 people got the information and they convicted him. No, that's not what happened. Period. The end. That's not what happened. What really happened was the judge put his finger on the scale and he pushed a lot of weird details into the mix to force this exact outcome so that they can then use the term convicted felon before every single time they say his name. That's what happened. Period.
Well, and I'll give you guys, okay, so just to say, the selection between Biden and Trump, in my opinion, is really a selection between 2 of less, of the lesser evil. So I believe that all politicians are essentially not great. And I shouldn't say evil, but I would say terrible for us regular people. Okay. But what I will say is that the system that we have here in the United States is broken. That said, it's still the best system of government in the world. Okay. Of all the broken systems, they're all broken to some degree, ours is broken and getting worse, but it's still the best system. Okay. The way we run things, the three branches of government. Mexico just put a woman who is now the president of Mexico. More than 200 people running for office were assassinated before she got there. And it only takes her and one other person to completely change the Constitution of Mexico. Imagine if that was the case in our country. Things would be crazy. Okay. So let me just put it to you like this. I think there's a lot of things wrong with Biden. I think there's a lot of things wrong with Trump. Okay. A lot of things. But I will say that I think the one thing about Trump that's different is that what you see is what you get. And I'm going to borrow something here from our friend Robert Meyer Burnett. He said, the new currency is authenticity, right? That's what Rob says.
Right.
And he's talking about Hollywood, but I think it's the same thing with politicians as well. Like, you know that Trump is going to say a bunch of stupid shit. He's going to say dumb things about people. He's going to sound like a damn seventh grader going after people. And most of it's not going to mean anything or make sense or anything else. But you know what you're looking at is that's the actual guy you're looking at.
Right.
He's not lying to you. He really is that guy. Now, what we got is, for 4 years from 2016 to 2020, a guy who did all those things, very, very mean person leading up to becoming the president, said terrible things about his running mates against people. But when he got into office, he mostly did okay things. He did some bad things. He raised, we spent way too much government spending. He's guilty of it too. But overall, things were better.
Apparently, that's all anyone that governs anything can do is spend everyone else's money.
Right, which is a bigger problem that Brian and I were talking about. So the difference between Biden and Trump is that Biden is hiding who he is. He's trying to trick everybody. Where does the term political correctness come from? From politicians.
Sure.
What's the politically correct thing to say so that everybody likes you?
So that everyone likes you and no one's upset with you. Yeah. Versus the truth.
Right. Right. So the thing with most politicians, and this is why people like Trump. I don't know if you like Trump or don't like Trump. The reason people like Trump is because they're like, that guy's real. The other guys, they're all saying whatever they got to say to get reelected or to stay in power. That's the difference. And so Trump, that's what I'll say about that. About the trial itself.
Yeah. Can I just show this document real quick?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
All right. So this is the document that the judge gave, the jury. And this is what it says. So it says, to promote or prevent in determining whether the defendant conspired to promote or prevent the election of any person to a public office by unlawful means, you may consider the following. Violations of the Federal Election Campaign Act, otherwise known as FECA. By the way, that's a federal law, had nothing to do with the state. And this event took place 4 months after the election, so that doesn't make any sense. Number 2, the falsification of other business records, or number 3, the violation of tax laws. So they gave him 3 options. Yeah. And then they go on to say, you may not need to be unanimous as to what these unlawful means were.
Well, and to be clear, so there's a reason why. Leave those 3 things up. No, leave them up. There's a reason why there's 3 things. It's very important if you guys don't understand this. Without number 1, violations of the Federal Election Campaign Act, otherwise known as FECA, they could not have charged him.
Right.
Because the statute of limitations ran out for 2 and 3. So without number 1, they can't basically reinstate the time frame.
Right.
But the problem is number 1 is not it.
No,
number 1 isn't what he did wrong. What he did wrong probably is number 2 and 3. And let me tell you, almost every business does this because most businesses kind of cheat a little bit on their taxes, a little bit here and there. But the IRS doesn't come after large corporations who cheat on their taxes. You want to know why? Because those corporations pay 90% of the taxes in our country.
Well, also because this is the system that we've developed. We developed the system where you select from the drop down what you paid for and what this was for, and you could write off taxes for this, that, and this random thing over here, and this environmental thing. This is the system we come up with. So you want to hate the player, but you need to first kind of criticize the game itself. And the game was set before Trump ran for office.
So the point is they don't. The reason why Trump has never happened to him before is because it's never been as egregious enough to go after him. It's not worth it. I mean, people get busted all the time for falsification of business records or violation of tax laws, but that's because they do something really big that's bad,
right?
That they end up getting busted for, and then it's a white collar crime. So the reason why people are so upset about the way Trump's being treated is because they wouldn't have done this to any regular person. They're only doing it because it's Trump, because he's on. So then it becomes a political assassination is what it is, because you wouldn't ordinarily do this. Now, here's the unsettling thing is they don't care if it gets overturned. And this is the frustrating thing.
And before you go on, just remember that number one, which is what number 2 and 3 are based on, couldn't have been charged by the state. And when they approached the Fed for it, the Fed said no.
Oh, you're talking about number 1?
Number 1. You said number 2 and 3 is based on number 1.
No, number 2 or 3 couldn't have been. They couldn't have busted him for that. They're only misdemeanors, by the way. They're not felonies.
Right.
They're only misdemeanors, and they're outside of the normal time frame. It's been too long.
Right. So they had to have been. It had to have been one that they based it on, but that's a federal offense, and the Fed wouldn't touch it. So how did the state touch it?
Because this is where it becomes shenanigans. Somehow they're able to legally wrap it in, and it's probably going to get thrown out. It's going to take the Supreme Court to do it. But here's the thing. Bragg and all these guys, and listen, like I said, lesser of two evils for me. I'm really pissed off because I don't want to see one political party overthrow another political party. It's bullshit. It's not what our country is built on. And I don't like things that are unfair. And so that's why we're really pointing this out. And I know you've seen it everywhere, but it's not been clear. Every time somebody points these things out that are a problem, what does the opposition say? He's a convicted felon. Just accept it. Well, no, okay. He is. Yeah, you got him. And now it's going to get thrown out. But here's the problem. It doesn't matter because all they wanted was to be able to call him a convicted felon for the next several months.
Yeah.
So even if it does get thrown out, it won't matter. They've done the damage is done.
Did you see that? When they were talking to Bragg and they asked him specifically what he was charged with, and he says, "Well, I don't really have to tell you what he was charged with."
I know. Well, there is a thing called. This is what's weird. There is a thing called prosecutors. Basically, I can't remember what it's called. He gets basically what he wants. He gets what he wants. He can do what he wants.
That's crazy. But you need to be able to tell someone what they're being charged with.
You should be
That's insane. How can someone defend themselves if they don't even know what they're being charged with?
Well, and the judge being able to tell the jury, look, you don't need to select 1, 2, or 3. They don't all need to be 1, 2, or 3. Just mix and match them up. They can be any of them. Well, let me tell you what, the fact that he paid for something with his personal money that was listed as a law thing. Now he gave the money to his lawyer, and it was marked as lawyer fee.
Right.
But technically it was his own personal money. So number 2 on that list, what was number 2?
Oh,
business documents.
Yeah. Falsifying business records.
Falsifying business documents. He's guilty. 100%.
Right. It was his own money.
Of a misdemeanor.
Right.
That is now out of context.
That has exceeded the statute of limitations, which means that shouldn't be happening. Period.
Right.
The end.
And they would have never brought him. They would have never brought him in for these charges. So, anyways, that's the whole point of this, guys. That's why it's unfair. And if you're an American, you shouldn't want things to be unfair. If this was happening to Biden, I would be pissed off the same way.
Yeah. If you cannot pervert the law needs to be blind. It needs to be blind. It needs to be fair. You cannot jump through all these legal loops. And literally, I feel like there was crimes committed that would take a lawyer to sort out, and I'm not one. Well, but you cannot pervert this rule of law because you don't like someone. That is not how it works, dude.
Well, so what they tell you that's a good argument you bring up, Brian. So what they'll say is, oh, well, that's okay. It could get overturned for him. See, they don't care if it gets overturned. The damage is done by what they just did.
Right.
all of this should been, if you want to charge Trump, wait till after the election and then go for it. Right.
Right.
Doing it just before the election is wrong.
And that's what's dirty. Oh my God, you hit it right on the head, dude. Like, he's gonna utilize the legal system to prove his innocence with an appeal, whatever. Sure. But you've already, and there's an 18-minute supercut of you dragging his name through, adding in front of his name as a precursor to Donald Trump, convicted felon. That was the purpose of this. It doesn't matter if it gets thrown out, because it's going to go to the Supreme Court and get thrown out. Okay, whatever, cool. But you've attempted to damage this person before an election. This is election tampering. This is the crime, the same crime that you were attempting to convict him of. Right. This is what you're doing. Now, what's crazy is I think it might have backfired a little bit. I think a lot of people who didn't care very much are now like, oh, I didn't really like Trump, but what? Now they're a little upset. In fact, Christopher's a lawyer.
Well, so Hell's Only, again, thank you, Christopher, for putting that out. Hell's Only put a thing out here that I think is interesting. It said the charge was simple. He cheated on a form. He wrote up an illegal write-off. Had he just paid the money off and not wrote it off as campaign expense, there would be no trial. Here's the thing, Hell's No. I don't think they've proven that he wrote it off as a campaign expense. No. I think that was the problem. They were arguing, this was the weird thing. They were arguing that it was supposed to be a campaign expense. Remember? It was like he should have designated it a campaign expense, and he didn't, so therefore he did something wrong. I am very curious to see how this comes out in the light of day. I mean, if he signed it off as a campaign expense, that's obviously probably not. You probably shouldn't do that, right? If that's what they're getting him for, then that's not good. But I heard it was the other way.
Why don't? But that's not the list of charges, though. So hold the fuck up. That's not the list of charges. The list of charges is not. Once again, what they're coming after him for is a federal offense.
A federal election tampering offense
that took place after the election. Okay,
no, it took place before.
No. What they were talking about
2016.
The payoffs. No, the payoffs they're referring to took place months after the election.
No, the payoffs took place before when he was running. They paid off Stormy Daniels so that she would shut up while he was running for president.
But yeah, okay. No, that's not the crime, though. No, the crime, okay, if it's based on election tampering, but but it's also falsifying documents and tax evasion, those things took place after the election, not before. He might have paid her off before the election, but he didn't actually falsify documents until after the election.
Or, I mean, who knows when he did it? But
how can it even be based on that first offense then? Like, things do not add up. And I understand you don't like. Hey, look, hell's only. Trump's always been full of shit. Cool, that's fine. It's not about Trump, and I'll say it again. It's not fucking about Trump. It's about going after someone you don't like, whether you don't like him or not. Look, man, what happens if someone came after, let's say, your brother that you love, right? And they got him for evading a traffic light 8 years ago, but they used like 15 different loopholes to do it just because they hated the guy and wanted to put him in jail. You would not be happy.
That's the problem there. You just nailed it. The problem is we hated the guy and wanted him to go to jail. And prosecutors being elected on a promise that they're going to destroy somebody is a bullshit way to put somebody in the system.
It's not about Trump. It's about the rule of law.
Go after somebody because you don't like them. That's not it.
And it's not okay because you also don't like him. It's not okay. You're like, well, it's fine because he is a dirtbag. No, it's not.
Right.
Just because you don't like him doesn't mean it's okay. Because now we have set the precedent where we can utilize this for people you actually like.
Well, and they've had 77 years to go after him. New York doesn't like him. Why didn't they bust him? They could have probably brought him in on his business documentation for decades.
Sure.
But they didn't do it. They chose to do it because he's running for president. And even if you don't like Trump or you think this is okay, or you think, you have to ask yourself, is it okay for them to attack somebody just before because they might beat you in an election? And if you say that if you say that, yeah, that's okay, then you really have to question, what you think about fairness. Is it okay to win at any cost?
No.
It's not good for the rest of us. That's for
not
sure.
In politics. Maybe in war, but not in politics.
Well, it affects the rest of us.
Right.
If it's only your sports team wants to cheat and win, that's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about the person who's going to run the country.
It's okay if the Patriots did it because I like the Patriots. Oh, but I don't like the Patriots. Now it's okay. Now it's not okay. That's not how things work. You can't cheat. You can't be cheating, and everything needs to be fair, regardless of who your team is. Whatever. I don't care what team that you root for. It's not right to utilize the law. And now we've set the precedent where someone said in the chat, hey, the Clinton-Biden trials are going to be lit. Like, listen, like if we're setting the precedent where we can actually just go after people and utilize the law as part of campaigning for an election. That's not okay.
I hope that doesn't happen. I mean, it's just going to make everything so much worse. I mean, it's like gang violence. One gang attacks another gang, and then the other gang, comes back on them. We don't need that, and I really hope that whatever happens here if Trump gets elected president, I hope he just says, you know what, they attacked me, but I'm going to be the bigger person. Now, chances are he won't because he's not that kind of guy. But he also didn't lock up Hillary when he said he was going to. So I don't know.
Yeah. Adam Leader for $5. Thank you, Adam. That's U.S. politics, though. It's not about promoting yourself to run for office. It's about how bad you can make the other guy look.
Yeah, that's so true. Mudslinging is so true, Adam. That's a big part of U.S. politics. I don't know. That's why I hate politics, guys. I freaking hate it, man.
It's not fun. It's just like
nobody's honest. You don't know who anybody really truly is. God, it's
blood
so
pressure. It's all it is.
Let's make our own country, guys. We'll all move into our own country, and we'll make a perfect government.
Yes. Remember when I was telling you how there's like 500 tiny little countries in the United States? Like they're they're called micronations.
Yes. We'll start our own micronation.
We can start a micronation. We'll have our own currency, and it could be based on something pop culture.
The popcoin.
The popcoin. Dame Frodo for $1.99. Thank you, Frodo. Envy is a terrible thing. It's true.
It is. It's terrible.
Listen, okay, so we're done with this. Let's talk about Elon, because we're going to be going to the members section pretty soon. So hang 10, you guys. In the members section, we're going to be looking at memes and shooting the shit. Let's talk about Elon.
I want to talk about my new credit card. If you guys saw on Twitter, the Synchrony Bank decided to tell me that my new interest rate on my credit card is now 35%. How'd that happen? How'd we get here?
Well, the system is designed to keep you poor. The system was designed by a tiny percentage of extremely rich elites to keep regular people in poverty, in chains, as slaves. You're like, oh, I'm not a slave to anything. No, you have invisible chains, bro. If you think that you're just free and clear, unless you're living off the grid somewhere, you ain't free. Your chains are just invisible. You're in a cage, and it's called credit. It's called your career. And in this day and age, no one's working and then retiring at 50 with a nice gold Rolex watch and living the rest of their days out with their loved ones kissing their grandkids. Most people right now are working until they fucking die. That's how it is. And if you don't think it was set up for that, if you don't think it was set up that way for that purpose, you're mistaken. And I love it. If you believe that it's not set up that way, then your ignorance is bliss. And I wish I can believe that way. I used to think, hey, you go to school, you go to the military. I'm sorry. For me, it was like, you go to the military, you get some money, you go to school, you get a career, you get a good job, you retire, and that's it. A perfect life, like a house, a couple cars, and life is good. Not the way it is. Not the way it is, man. And this system we have called credit, it was designed to keep poor people poor. To keep people, maybe you're not poor, maybe you're middle class. It was designed to keep you middle class. It was designed because you cannot get a house. You cannot get a car. You cannot buy things that a lot of people would say this is what makes you a success without that credit score, and you can't get that credit score unless you are indebted to the system.
Well said, bro.
I can go on for hours, but I'm not going to.
No, we don't want to do that.
35%.
We will talk about. We will talk about. I mean, it's a good point. I was adding it up. My insurances, like, it used to be insurance wasn't mandatory.
Oh yeah, now it's mandatory. Oh my god!
You didn't have to have auto insurance. You didn't have to have home insurance. You didn't have to have medical insurance.
Now it's
mandatory. Illegal to have 3. And let me tell you what, I pay $27,600 a year. $27,600 a year for auto insurance, health insurance for my family, and homeowners insurance. $27,000. That's $2,300 a month in mandatory insurances.
By the way, if you're not a homeowner and you're a renter, guess what? Renter's insurance is also mandatory in most places. It's mandatory for me, and I'm a renter.
Yeah.
Mandatory. It's mandatory. I have been paying a bill for a decade that I will never utilize unless my life is upended to a point so catastrophic that I couldn't afford the deduction anyways. So you know what? The whole system is so perverted. It's perverted to the point where what is the term? I think it was Biggie Smalls. Either you're slinging crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot. Like, those are your two options. And I know that's a pretty dated reference, but like, it still stands. Like, you got to get a little lucky or you have to color outside the lines. For people like Shay and I, you got to have 2 or 3 jobs, because of where we live. That's the way it is. The fact that it is the way it is insane. Like, I hate it so much. Nothing I can do about it. I'm fucking no one, but it does drive me nuts.
Yeah. And I bet some of you all feel the same pain that we're feeling right now.
Yeah.
All right. Where are we going now?
We are talking about Elon Musk real quick before we go to the member section.
Okay. Well, yeah. So Elon Musk, listen, you guys know how we feel about Elon Musk. We think that he's better for humanity. He's one of the only guys the thing about Elon that I love even more, there's nobody else out there that has any sort of power authority that's not like me. Like, everybody is me. Biden's me. Trump's me. Everybody's me, right? It's all about what you can get for yourself. Elon Musk is like the first guy that's like, it's not all about him. Everything he's done, he could have millions and billions more money if he really wanted to have it, but he chose to make everything open source. So all of his Tesla stuff, other car makers can just use it to make their cars better. And he could have made a ton of money off of forcing them to pay him money for it. He just made it open.
No, and
all of his space stuff open.
And the fucking clowns out there who was like, but Elon didn't actually invent that stuff. The engineers did. Yeah, no shit. But he's the one who decided to make it open source. Like,
right.
Stop equating the two. Elon's not a brilliant. It's the people who work for him who are. Yeah, and what the fuck? What does that even matter? He decided to make the patents open source. You know how many companies do that? None. No one does that. If they can make a penny more than they would that year, then they wouldn't give you anything. Let me tell you something. We've gotten claimed off of music that was made in the 1800s because someone decided to re-upload it by companies like Disney, massive studios with billions of dollars at their disposal, and they care about the $3 they might make on this live stream. Let me tell you something. That is not something regular CEOs do. That was specific to him. And for all the clowns that want to act like what he's doing isn't in the world's best interest as a net positive, it's because they are just insanely jealous of the guy, or they are given bad information. Again, he didn't have to make any of that open source.
I mean, he is the first Nikola Tesla, since he's like the first guy to come around since then, who's just really willing to just give it all for society. I mean, is he rich? Does he want to look cool? Does he want to be cool on X?
Of course.
On Twitter? Does he want his tweets? Does he want everybody to love him and like him? Of course he does. He's a human being. But ultimately, he wants us to be better. So what's happening is they promised him when he first did his pay package, He got nothing. He got no money. He said, listen, I want to get this much money at the end of 6 years, depending on how much we've earned as Tesla as a company. And they agreed on it. It was agreed upon. Now, 6 years later, it's 50-something billion dollars. And they're saying, we don't want to pay you.
Well, and the bullshit is the state is getting involved where they almost never get involved with this kind of stuff. And
Delaware.
Right. And what's nuts is that it's a political thing. Like they don't like him. When they liked him before he was outspoken, before he was about free speech, this wouldn't have been an option. But now they don't like him, so now let's go after
Twitter, X. Now that he owns X, they don't like him anymore. So now they're going to fight him on it. So here's the thing: he's going to use that money. He's going to use that money in part to continue to push humanity forward. I mean, it's arguable that this guy has helped push us forward more than any other individual in our lifetime. So,
the people that criticize him like Ford and these other car companies are utilizing his patents.
They're jealous, bro. I mean, if it's another car company, you can't. If it's another car company, you can't take it serious. Okay.
Now, I think it's hilarious that they criticize him while using the stuff he gave them for free.
Of course, because he's beating their asses.
Yeah.
A company that was never supposed to make it. Everybody's like, don't buy stock in that company. Well, guess what? So here's the deal. He's making it work. Now, the thing is that if you're a stockholder in Tesla, you have the ability to go and vote to make sure he gets paid. So I wanted to put out, if you're a Tesla stockholder, please go vote. You have until the 13th to do it. It's in an email. I tweeted it out. I sent it out how to do it. But every person, even if you only hold one share of Tesla stock, you can vote. And it's going to be determined by the voters. So hopefully everybody goes and votes for him. And that's why I wanted to bring it up. The guy is, he's the only bastion of free speech. Like when you look at that guy, like kind of they do with Donald Trump, like, okay, Donald Trump is he's authentic. Mm-hmm. Elon Musk is totally authentic. Like what you see is what you get. How many times can you say that about any captain of industry in our world? What you see is what you get. It almost never happens.
Right.
But because he's not spitting out the opinions that you like or that someone likes, maybe you don't like him. But the reality is he's just saying it like it is. So, and I like that about somebody. So anyways, that's our push for Elon.
Yeah, that's it. And now we are going to the member section. What does that mean, Shane? What does it mean that we're going to the member section?
Means we're going to get naked.
We're going to get naked. We're going to take our pants off. We're going to kick our feet up, and we're going to hang out and talk about memes and just totally unburden ourselves. And you can join us. And it's that simple. It's as simple, I should say, as hitting the join button to the bottom left of this video. Or if you're on your phone, it's somewhere on your screen, I'm sure. And when you do, this video is going to end, and it's going to take you directly to that live stream. And if for some reason it does not do that, you might have to click on the channel name and hit the members and find it there, or the live.
Yeah, and once again, thanks to Dame Frodo Lives for donating those 5 subscriptions. So new people can come in and see what we're all about on the back end.
Yes, and we get weird back there. It's fun. It's a good time. All right, Shane, anything you want to end on before we split?
No, appreciate you guys. We'll be back next Thursday, and we love you. Hope you have a great weekend.
And remember, this is not goodbye. This is I'll see you next week.
Well said.